per the RFC or that I was going through, in the RFC it says that the update messages is unicast, but when I took the PCAP, it showed me some other results.
And what I taught you?
Oh, yeah, that was unicast only.
No, that is multicast only, not unicast.
No, the initial,
Yeah,
I mean,
initial
yes,
message.
yes, 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 multicast, and then after that.
Today I am going to show you the unicast hello message.
Okay.
I think till now we didn't
No, I
discuss
am talking about
about
the
the stat.
update messages.
Update message also multicast. Till now you learn all the multicast message only in AGRP. Today is the first day where we are going to introduce unicast message, right? Except 16 unicast query message. All the messages are multicast. Now today we'll see the requirement of a static neighborship first, where we need a static neighborship, and in a static neighborship you will see all the messages are unicast. Karthi, am I audible?
Yes, sir, audible. Yes, sir, I
Yeah.
hear.
Do you have any question, brother?
Yes, sir, we can continue class, sir.
Okay. Anything else, guys?
Sir, our EIGRP is over or still continuing today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I was
EIGRP.
just
There are some
asking.
concepts, like many concepts are there. These are the advanced concept. Now you are okay with the basic. Today I will start the advanced concept of EIGRP.
Sure, sir.
First of all, in last
And
class
sir,
we have seen the variance, right? So who will explain variance? What is variance? Why we need it? Length of variance, by default variance value.
am I audible?
Yes, you are
Am I
audible.
audible?
Unequal
Hi, sir.
cost for
We use variance for unequal cost load balancing. By default, EIGRP does load balancing, equal cost load balancing. So by variance, we can manipulate the path and keep the two paths in the same routing table, so that if one goes down, it can take the other one. And by default, variance value is 1.
Correct. So I am expecting these all basic concepts are clear to you all types of messages, right? About the reliability, about the diffusing algorithm, diffusing update algorithm, dual algorithm, like FD, RD, successor, and feasible successor. You know the metric calculation, you know the K values. These are the basic concept of AGRP. And today, let's understand the static neighborship first. So topic for
Sir,
today is,
a very small question. How relevant is EIGRP in the actual production environment?
it's very important,
Very relevant.
very relevant.
Sir, I have one more question, then we can start. Sir, in EIGRP, we says only K1 and K3 values are count, right?
By
Using
default.
if a metric has to be calculated. So, sir, in real production environment, we are not allowed to change the bandwidth as well as the delay, sir.
Correct. Then how
Right?
to perform path manipulation, right?
Correct.
So
My
you have
question is
something
that.
called offset list. After this topic,
Mm-hmm.
they start offset list
Mm-hmm.
only. Next topic,
Okay.
through which you can add
Thank you.
metric.
Okay.
So how
Thank
many
you.
types of
Okay.
neighborship are there in EIGRP? Two. Two types of neighborship are there. First one is dynamic, right? Which we already know. In dynamic, how two routers are going to form neighborship with the help of hello message. On what address? On 224.0.0.10.
Then,
Second type of neighborship is a static neighborship. Whenever you will configure a static neighborship, then all the messages of EIGRP will be unicast. router will send messages of EIGRP on unicast address. Question is, why static neighborship is required? Static neighborship is required in various scenarios. In the production network, sometime you will see multicast traffic are not allowed in the network. For an example, you have some sites. This one, is it visible?
No.
Is topology visible?
No, sir.
No,
Oh.
no, no. Nice.
Visible now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So see, for an example, this topology. Here you can see I have 3 sides: headquarter, side 1, side 2. Right? And all the sites are connected through service provider. For an example, this is frame relay. Frame relay is one WAN technology. Earlier we were using, nowadays we are not using it. Nowadays we are using internet MPLS. For an example, it is MPLS or frame relay. Right? Later you will understand these concepts in detail as well. Like when you will learn network type in OSPF. For an example, right now this is, so you know, frame relay does not support multicasting or broadcasting. In the frame relay network environment, you cannot send broadcast message or multicast message. But here between headquarter and these branches, I want to share these prefixes. Can I run EAGRP here? Yes, we can run EAGRP because we have a static neighborship. If we don't have a static neighborship concept in EAGRP, then we cannot run EAGRP. Why? Because these routers will send hello message on multicast address and frame relay router will discard it. Frame relay router will discard it. Yes or no? If you heard about L2 VPN, MPLS L2 VPN, there also you will see multicasting. Multicast traffic is not allowed. You cannot send traffic on multicast address or on broadcast address 224.0.0.10 or 255.255.255.255. You are only allowed to send unicast message. So in this scenario, we have to configure what? A static neighborship. Only you need to add one more command in EIGRP. Like on router number 1, I have to tell to router 1 who is your neighbor, the IP address of R2. Once I will tell to R1 that your neighbor IP address is, let's say, 192. Here my subnet is 192.160.1.1. Actually, guys, in real time you will have overlay network here. Here you will have tunnel like this. Right, and on this tunnel you will be running EIGRP. So on the tunnel, let's say this is my subnet 0. Dot 1 is IP here, dot 2 is IP. So I said neighbor IP address is 192.168.1. Now router will start sending all message of EIGRP to this address, to this unicast address only. 1 minute. So if someone will ask you like where we need to configure a static neighborship in EIGRP, you can say it depends on network type. Depend on network type. In the broadcast network type, we can configure dynamic neighborship. A dynamic neighborship will work fine there. But in case of point-to-point link, let's say for example, I have two data center, and between these two data center, I have point-to-point link. Point-to-point link means like lease line. So on the point-to-point link also, multicast or broadcast messages are not allowed. Point-to-point link means two devices are directly connected with each other. Right? This device
But
can
sir,
send data to this device only, and this device can send data to this device only. Only unicast. So here you have to configure a static neighborship only. Otherwise, router will generate hello message on multicast address. Yeah.
so sir, in that case also, sir, in that case also, the other data center would accept multicast address, right? In the IGRP version 2.
No, on lease line we cannot send multicast traffic. This is
So
point
what
to
is the
point link.
limitation? It's why we can't? Means why we
See,
can't?
it
Matlab, is there
depends
any
on
specific
network type,
reason?
brother. In some network types, we can send all types of traffic. But in some network types, we can send only and only unicast message. If I will talk about the network types, so we have multiple types of networks like NBMA. NBMA stands for non-broadcast multi-access. Non-broadcast means you cannot send broadcast traffic in this network type. Non-broadcast multi-access network. This network type does not support the multicasting mechanism or broadcast mechanism.
बोलो जल्दी बोलो. क्लास तो कब की शुरू होगी?
So, sir, when you say point to
8:20
point,
हो गया है.
PPOE connections also don't support
Point to point.
multicasting. Yeah,
So
over
point to
Ethernet.
point is also one what network type only, like NBMA. NBMA. Then we have another types of network in, and like if I will give you the example of NBMA, non-broadcast multi-access network. So example is frame relay. Frame. Second example can be ATM. Like these are old technology, right? If I will talk about the current technology, so you have example of MPLS, right? For an example, here you have two sides, branch 1, branch 2, and you have connectivity from service provider. So here is P router, here is P router, here is C router, customer is, provider edge, right? So from this side 1, you want to advertise some prefixes. The question is, can I advertise prefixes on multicast address? That depends on this router. If this router does not support multicasting, then we are not allowed to send multicast address. The router will discard it. Remember, if this interface is not the member of 224.0.0.10, then it will not accept any message on this address. Correct? We know this. Whenever we will enable EIGRP on the router will first join this multicast group. But if router does not support the multicasting, then it cannot join the multicast group, correct? So in this case, we have to configure what here? A static neighborship. Here also what? A static neighborship.
Then sir, what is the need of EIGRP? Then normal हम static
स्टैटिक
रूट डाल के
राउटिंग
कर
नहीं बोल
सकते
रहा
हैं,
हूं मैं.
right? नहीं,
Not
I know,
static
but
routing.
हाँ, I know you are not talking about static routing. You're talking about static EIGRP, right?
Static
But in
neighborship
that
in
case,
EIGRP.
अगर हाँ, correct. But if suppose वो support नहीं कर रहा, ISP is not supporting this multicast, so हम default route डाल के भी तो traffic लेके जा सकते हैं अपना, right?
यहाँ पे अभी ये
हाँ.
इंटरनेट से कनेक्टेड है. अब अगर हम डिफॉल्ट और इधर की तरफ दे दिए और कोई यूजर गूगल एक्सेस करना चाहता है, उसका ट्रैफिक चला जाएगा MPLS, जबकि गूगल यहाँ पे है. तो डिफॉल्ट रूट इधर की तरफ होना चाहिए. डिफॉल्ट रूट शुड बी टुवर्ड्स इंटरनेट.
Correct.
Yeah, GRP is definitely required here to exchange routes between side 1 and side 2.
But suppose if we don't have internet, so in that case, the default route should work.
See, you can definitely see. I have two routers, R1, R2. Here I have some subnet, 10, 20. Here I have subnet, 30, 40. So if I want to exchange these prefixes between R1 and R2, I can configure routing protocol. RP. If you don't want to configure routing protocol, you can configure one default route. Here on R1 towards
Hmm.
R2, on R2 towards R1, there is chance of loop,
Communication.
loop, brother.
Okay.
If you are going to ping any other subnet, let's say for 50 subnet, then loop will form here. Then loop will form. Loop will form
Mhm.
because 50 subnet, like I'm pinging,
So,
let's say 50.1.1.1. User will forward traffic to router 1. 50 subnet will match in default route. It will forward to router 2. Router 2 will forward it. Router 2 will check their routing table. Again, 50 subnet will match in default route. It will forward
It will
back to
match
router.
in default route. Yeah.
So here,
Yeah.
between side 1 and side 2, loop will form if we will configure default route towards service provider.
तो सर इफ यू कैन से अगर एक राउटर है एंड एक सपोज एक साइट है पर्टिकुलर साइट एक राउटर है पीई सीपीई यू कैन से एंड उसके नीचे स्विच है ओके
यहाँ पे होगा सी कस्टमर एज और यहाँ पे होगा पी.
करेक्ट पी पी एमपीएस क्लाउड या मे बी
ओके.
आईएसपी साइड नीचे अपना स्विच है नीचे अपना स्विच है सपोज तो वी कैन रन बिटवीन सी एंड स्विच के बीच में वी कैन रन ईआईजीआरपी राइट
Yes, you can run here
डायनेमिक
AGRP.
द रीजन इज डायनेमिक कर सकते हैं कि नहीं
कर सकते हैं डायनामिक यहाँ पे.
बट वो तो कनेक्शन तो पॉइंट टू पॉइंट है सर
पॉइंट टू पॉइंट ये इथरनेट लिंक है ना. इथरनेट लिंक मल्टी एक्सेस लिंक है जहाँ पे ये सारे यूजर ट्रैफिक सेंड करने वाले हैं इसी लिंक पे. पॉइंट टू पॉइंट लिंक हम यहाँ पे यूज करेंगे सीरियल लिंक. हमें पता है कि यहाँ पे सिर्फ 2 डिवाइस कनेक्टेड है. पॉइंट टू
यू मीन
पॉइंट
टू
और
से
मल्टी
कि
एक्सेस का मतलब क्या समझे. मल्टी एक्सेस मीन्स मल्टीपल यूजर्स आर एक्सेसिंग सेम लिंक एंड पॉइंट टू पॉइंट लिंक मीन्स only 2 devices are directly connected with each other through this link. Means only these 2 devices are going to send traffic on this link.
यू मीन टू से कि पी और सी के बीच में सीरियल लिंक यूज किया जाता है बट वी
नहीं,
हैव सीन
हम कोई
गीगाबिट
भी लिंक
इथरनेट
यूज
एज
कर
वेल
सकते हैं यहाँ
फास्ट
पे.
इथरनेट एज वेल
कोई भी लिंक यूज कर सकते हैं. अगर सीरियल लिंक यूज हो रहा है तो आपको स्टैटिक नेबरशिप कॉन्फ़िगर करना पड़ेगा. ये मैं बोल रहा हूँ.
ओके
अगर
ओके
आप
ओके
इथरनेट लिंक यूज कर रहे हैं आपको नहीं करने की जरूरत है. स्टैटिक नेबरशिप, डायनामिक नेबरशिप विल वर्क हियर.
करेक्ट नाउ
दैट
आई
इज माय
गॉट
कंसर्न.
इट नाउ आई गॉट इट
So where you will configure static membership, that depends on network. And in OSPF also you are going to learn, like in the entire OSPF, the behavior of OSPF routing protocol depends on network type only. And by default network type depends on link type only. Which type of link we are using. You might have heard for the LAN technology, like this side we are using Ethernet. Ethernet is popular for LAN only. Right? So in LAN, dynamic neighborship is fine. And every time you will be configuring dynamic neighborship on LAN side. Right? For an example, this is my design. This is building. In the building, I have 2 router R1, R2, R3, R4, and here switch 1. Like this, these devices are connected. And here I want to configure routing, EIGRP. So I can configure what? Dynamic EIGRP, and that will work fine here. Even if you want to configure dynamic neighborship on point-to-point link, then you have to change network type, which is possible in case of OSPF, but not possible in EIGRP, because in EIGRP there is no any command to change network type on the link. So what I told you, first type of network is NBMA, where broadcast and multicast messages are not allowed. Right? So whenever we have this environment, we have to configure static name. Second is multi-access. You can say broadcast multi-access. Fast. Thought we are saying. So you can see this network type, this environment supports multicasting, broadcasting. So here dynamic neighborship is. Here we can configure dynamic neighbor. And third type of network, what I told you, point to point. Point to point. Again here, dynamic neighborship is not possible. There is a direct link. Point to point means direct link between 2 devices, and it does not support dynamic neighborship, or you can say broadcast mechanism. And the network which does not support broadcast mechanism will never support multicast mechanism as well, right? So multicast messages are not allowed here in the CMA network, in broadcast network, or you can say in the multi-access network. Then we have another types of network as well, like point to multi-point, point to multi-point. Like this scenario, you can see here one point, this is hub, and we have multiple branches. All the branches are connected with hub router. Here I don't have any WAN circuit. I'm not paying any money to ISP for connection between spoke 1 and spoke, like side 1 and side 2. I'm paying for this connection and this connection. That's it. So how these two sides are going to communicate with each other? Through headquarter hub router.
Headquarter.
Right? So we have point to multi-point network type also, and in point to multi-point network type, you tell me, can I send broadcast message?
No.
What about all?
Sir, hoga. We can
Yes,
send
sir,
it
we
broadcast
can.
message,
Yes,
but
yes.
that will cause headquarter पे बहुत ज़्यादा लोड आ जाएगा सर.
लोड आएगा, लेकिन होगा ना, पॉसिबल तो है ना, क्योंकि अगेन दिस लिंक इज मल्टी एक्सेस, बिकॉज मल्टीपल साइट्स आर. So here also static and dynamic both will. For summary, you can say in an broadcast, not support, not possible. Technology, you can say frame relay and MPLS or ATM. Use case where we are using it for the WAN, for wide area network, or you can say in the service provider network, ISP. Then broadcast. In the broadcast, dynamic neighborship is possible. Broadcast message can be travel. Again, example can be Ethernet. Best example, Ethernet used for LAN side. Use case you can say like in the office, the corporate production side, and we have point to point. In OSPF, you are going to learn these network types in more detail, because we have practical as well for these network types. You will see, you will also learn like in which types of scenario we should use this network type or this network type or this network type, where I should use types
Saurabh,
of.
please can you mute?
Saurabh Sharma, mute yourself, bro.
So in point to point, again, broadcast is not possible, right? Example can be leased line. And use case whenever you want dedicated link between two, then point to multi point. In point to multi point, again, broadcast is possible. Yes.
Bro, namaskar ರೀ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಲ್ಲಿ
Generally, we are using it in hub and spoke topology. These types of.
ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ನಿಮ್ದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ
Sir, बहुत ज़्यादा disturbance आ रही है. Can you mute someone?
ಹೌದ್ರಿ
समझ
Irappa, can you mute
ಏ
yourself?
ಬಿಡ್ರಿ ನೋಡೋಣ ಅಂತ ಕೆಲಸ
Please mute everybody maybe.
ಈರಪ್ಪ ಅವರ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
Yes, sir.
So this
हाँ
is
sir.
about static neighborship, where we need static neighborship. It depends on network, right? Like if we want to run EIGRP in LAN side, dynamic neighborship is fine. Brought that like routers can send EIGRP message on multicast address in the LAN side, right? But in the WAN side, like if your service provider is using frame relay technology or MPLS technology like VPN, L2 or L3, so in these types of scenario you have to configure a static neighbor. For an example, in this scenario, what I told you, here we have WAN circuit means connection. Here also we have connection, but here I don't have. So guys, router 1 should only form neighborship with router 2 and router 3. Router 2 should only form neighborship with router 1. Here we should have one neighborship. Here we should have one neighborship. Here we will not have any. Got it? Let me show you the configuration of first. Actually, this ISP is nothing but one switch. This is layer 2 L2 switch. So if I want to stop communication between this port and this port, what I can do? Anyone have idea? I want to stop communication. Let's say I have one switch here. Switch. There is
Put them
PC.
in different VLANs.
So you can configure inter-VLAN routing. PC1
सर पोर्ट सेट कर दो सर.
पोर्ट सेट कर देंगे तो ये पोर्ट और ये पोर्ट भी तो बात नहीं करेगा. In the
Exactly.
switching, there is one concept of protected switch port. Protected. Don't have idea about it? No worry. The switching you will learn it. Like two protected port cannot communicate with each other. Protected port can communicate with unprotected port, but two protected port cannot communicate. So if I will configure these two ports as protected, then router 1 and router 2 and router 3 cannot communicate with each other directly. They have to communicate via router number 1 only. So when you will implement here a static neighborship, you will face some challenges, right? So we'll see what challenges we are facing and how these two sides are going to communicate, right? This is protected is not our topic. Just I am using it for the lab. So let me access the switch SP and let me configure these two as interface range E0/1 to 2, and I'm going to say switch port switch port protected. The command.
So I think switch port mode.
No mode. Port protected. That is the not taking. Like in your event it will work. Your event you can run this command.
सर
One
हमने
in my
EVNG
event
नहीं, हम DNS में कर रहे हैं.
हाँ तो स्विच को आपको कॉन्फ़िगर ही नहीं करना है, छोड़ दीजिए. मेरे जो लैपटॉप में इवेंट है उसमें काम करता है, ये सर्वर पे है. यहाँ पे स्विच में ना कुछ एरर है, दूसरा गलत इमेज कमांड यहाँ पे. So we can expect like there is no communication
So
between
by
0
using
slash 1.
CLI, you can stop, right, traffic? By using CLI, you can use, right, traffic also. Yeah, yeah, interface, there is E02 is there, right? What you tell, you need to, no need to communication between both, right?
0/1
By using
right.
CLI, by using CLI, we can use, right?
Yeah, through CLI you can run command switch port protected.
Okay, sorry.
Protected port can never communicate. Okay, for now what we are expecting that there is no link between side 1 and side, right? And here my subnet is any subnet you can dot 1.0/20. I will configure dot 1 on router 1, dot 2 on router 2, dot 3. Base F set IP dot get one loopback for LAN address dot 1.155 router AGRP set 10 and network 10.1.0 of core network, which is now router will start sending multicast hello message. Start sending multicast hello. Here you can see the ARP message. Sending hello message on what address? On multicast address. Now I am going to add one more command here, that is config t router AGRP case number 10 and say neighbor 192.168.1 dot router 2 on which
मास्क
interface?
देना पड़ेगा.
On fast ethernet /0. So I have added this command. I have added this command neighbor and then IP address of. Is there any hello message router 1 is sending? Any hello? Reason? See, router is trying to resolve the MAC address of the IP address, the neighbor IP address, because if router 1 want to send any message to 192.168.1.2, what router 1 need? MAC address. Correct? So destination belongs to same network. That's why it is trying to resolve the MAC address. It is generating ARP request message again and again, but there is no 192.168.1.2. No one is using this IP address. That's why it is right. So let me configure R2 also here. Interface F0/0 no such and IP address 192.168.1 dot. Once I will configure this IP address, what will happen, guys?
सर वो IP एड्रेस को रिजॉल्व
ARP
कर
resolve
देगा.
हो जाएगा. अभी अगर आप इसका आप टेबल
Exactly.
चेक करोगे, so IP आप, so you can see here this entry is incomplete, right? Complete.
Correct.
Router is not able to resolve the MAC address of neighbor. Now I am going to let me. After that, now router 1 got the MAC address of 1.2, so it will start sending unicast hello message here. To whom router 1 is sending now hello message? To 192.168.1.2 only. Correct? There is one more neighbor,
Correct.
router 3. So on router number
Sir,
1,
now EHRP neighbor has been formed.
no, till now I have not enabled EGRP on router number 2. Right?
Here just
Only thing is
configure the
router 1 is
interface.
sending hello message to router number 2. Router
Okay,
1 is sending hello message to router number 2 only. And you know, the I have one more example of a static neighborship. Let's say for an example, I have one switch here and one router R1, R2, R3 and R4. R4. So I want to form EHRP neighborship between router 1 and router 3 only. I want to form EHRP neighborship between router 1 and router 3 only. So in case of dynamic neighborship, what will be happen? Both routers will be sending message on multicast address and these two routers will be using their CPU. Correct? Because
Correct.
switch will forward one copy to this router also, this router also. So in this case also, it's better to configure a static neighborship between router 1 and router 3. Right? So after configuring a static neighborship, router 1 will send hello message to router number 3 only. Right? First it will resolve the MAC address of R3. Then destination IP will be the IP address of R3. Destination MAC will be the MAC address of R3. To reduce CPU utilization also you can say. Purpose of static neighborship is to reduce the CPU utilization. Router EGRP. Then one more neighbor command I am going to add 192.168.1.3 again on same interface on fast Ethernet 0. Yes. Now again router 1 is trying to resolve MAC address to IP R, but you can see incomplete. Go to R3 and configure the IP. Till then you can form neighborship between R1 and R2 also. So IP EGRP neighbor, right? R2. So IP EGRP neighbor. So see, is there any neighborship till now? No. R1 is only sending hello message. Router 1 not receiving any hello message till now. Now I am going to enable EGRP on router 2 also. Host name
Yeah.
router EGRP 10 and neighbor. Who is neighbor? 192.168.1.1 on which
1.1
interface?
0/0.
Yes. So you can see router again ARP message.
So it is sending to 1.3.
Is there any hello message from R2? R2 sending any hello message? 192.168.1.2.
Not yet.
So keep in mind one thing that whatever link are there, like in my case, fast Ethernet link. On this link, I am going to configure a static neighborship. So make sure EIGRP is enabled on this interface. Is EIGRP enabled on this interface?
No, we have not advertised the network.
Yes. Right? So until and unless you will not enable the EIGRP, it will not send hello message. So IP EIGRP interface. You can see EIGRP is not enabled on any interface. How to enable EIGRP on interface? With the help of which command?
Network command.
Network command. So router EIGRPS number 10 and network 192.168.1.0. Now so IP, you can see even the log message. So IP EIGRP.
Interface.
Now we have neighborship. Who is neighbor? 192.168.1.1 on which interface on fast Ethernet? hold on time, update, SRTT count, right, RTO, sequence number, everything. And now we have neighborship, static neighborship between R1 and R. So that's why you will find unicast hello message between R. R2 is sending this hello message R1, and then R1 is sending, both are. Now let me take you to R3. Interface F0/0 set IP address 192.168.1.5525552 dot space loopback 1 IP address 30.1.1 55255 dot exit router EIGRPS number 10 network 192.168.1.0 and neighbor. Until and unless I will not define neighbor command, it will be sending hello message on multicast 192.168.1.1. Now it will start sending on unit. So IP EIGRP. Here we have one neighborship. On R3 we have neighborship with R1, and on R2 also we have EIGRP neighborship with R1, and on R1 we'll find two neighbor. So IP EIGRP neighbor. Both are neighbor. Daughter 2 and daughter. Now I am going to advertise this LAN subnet on daughter number 1. So IP EIGRP. So here you can see on daughter number 1 EIGRP is enabled on both interface, on LAN interface also, as well as on WAN link. Done. Let me take you to R.
Correct.
So IP EIGRP interface only and only on F0/0. So IP interface brief. One loopback is not configured. Let me configure it. Interface back 1 and IP address 20.1.1.1 255.255.255.0 router EIGRPS number 10 and network 20.1.1. Let me take you to R3 and IP RP IP space brief router EIGRPS number 10 and network 30.1.1. Now tell me, can side 1 and side 2 communicate with each other? Can
Yes,
side
it
1
can communicate, but through via R1, I think.
see? I'm going to show you the routing table of R2. So IP route EIGRP. There is only 10 subnet, headquarters subnet. There is no 30 subnet. The routing table of R2. You can see. There is no 30 subnet in the routing table of R2. In the routing table of R3. Sorry. So IP route EIGRP. Here also you can see. Means all the spoke sites are receiving prefixes of data center only or headquarter only. Branch 1 is not receiving any prefix of remote site, other branches. Why? Tell me
So
now. I am
split horizon.
very good. Ryzen. What is happening here? R2 is advertising is submit to R1 on which interface? On
R1.
F0/0.
F0/0.
So R1 will never advertise same prefixes from same interface. From the receiving interface, it will not advertise
Receiving interface.
20 subnet. This is the, so that's why here you can see on router number 1. So IP route EIGRP. Here we are receiving all the prefix, but we have issue on. So what is the solution? Solution, you know here loop will not form because your topology is hub and spoke. Loop cannot form, never. So you can disable split horizon. By default it is enabled, right? But we can disable. So on router number 1, I am going to disable split horizon.
Sir, before enabling, can you trace route the LAN network from R3, R2
See,
to R3?
the route is not
Okay,
available in the
पे?
routing table. How you can trace route?
तो trace भी नहीं जाएगा.
ट्रेस भी नहीं
Correct.
जाएगा ना, एक ही होप पे खत्म हो जाएगा. आप देखोगे यूजर के पीसी से सिर्फ और सिर्फ डिफॉल्ट गेटवे तक ट्रैफिक जा रहा है. डिफॉल्ट गेटवे वहां पे ट्रैफिक को ड्रॉप कर रहा होगा. So first thing is route should be there in the routing table, but here issue is route is not. So let's disable the split horizon rule. So somewhere you will find the split horizon rule.
से शो रन पाइप सेक्शन करके एक बार चेक कर लीजिए.
Here, pipe section you can like put
Great.
split horizon is. Let me disable it. For loop avoidance, it is enable. I'm going to disable it. Say no IP split. By default, split horizon for EIGRPS number 10 is running. By default, this command is running. IP split horizon EIGRPS number 10. So I am removing this command. And now I am going to verify the routing table of EIGRP neighborship is also desynchronized. Now let me verify the routing table of branches.
R2.
So IP route EIGRP. Now you can see 30 subnet is
There.
on router number 3.
Sir, here I have one question. R1 will advertise also this 20.1.1.0 network, right?
Right.
So R2 it will reject, right?
Why it will reject?
No.
No, sir. What I'm asking, the headquarters now it will advertise both network, 20 network and 30 network to both routers, right?
No, R1 will advertise 20 and 10 to R3 and 30 and 10 to R2.
Okay, sir.
Nice. Is it not clear? But there is still
But
one
now
issue.
R3 is going to communicate with R2 via R1, or is
Yeah.
it going to communicate
So
directly?
here is the answer. Na? See 20 subnet is reachable via
Yeah, clear, sir. Thank you.
hub. This is still issue, right? Load on hub router is these two sides.
Sir, my question is yeah. Actually, my question is how I want to understand that's why R2 is it has only routing table 30.1.1.0. If headquarters maybe headquarters it will not advertise a 20 dot network to R2, right? Because we have disabled split horizon. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, so there are two neighbor. Whatever prefix says it will
Okay.
receive from this neighbor, it will advertise to other neighbor.
Other neighbor only.
Yes.
So same. Even if
Other-
we disable the split
Now
horizon,
this
same
router
neighbor.
is sending message on unicast. On unicast only, right? So whatever prefixes it will
Okay.
receive from R2, R1 is going to send that to R3 on
R3
1.3.
only.
192.168.1.3.
Okay. Okay, sir.
This is what? This is switch. This is switch. Switch. How switch forward traffic? Switch forward traffic on this MAC address. So destination
Okay, sir.
MAC will
Here
be
one more question.
unicast.
Okay, sir. Here one more question. In if R2 F0/0, if we disable split horizon on this interface, then what will happen?
Not required here. Here you don't need to disable a split horizon or enable. When a split horizon is not required here. A split horizon is to avoid the loop. When loop
Yes,
will
sir.
form? When you are sending traffic on multicast or broadcast. In case of unicast, how loop can form? A split horizon is not required here. My case, but by default it is enabled. Even you can ignore it on spoke routers, but you have to disable it on hub router. So that whatever prefixes it is receiving from first neighbor, it will advertise to other neighbor and vice versa. Clear?
I took if we would have one more router.
On R, where?
R2 के नीचे सर
ओके R2 के नीचे एक और राउटर लगा देते हैं.
और उस केस में फिर हमें स्प्लिट होराइजन रूल R2 पे भी हमें डिसेबल करना पड़ेगा.
क्यों करना पड़ेगा? यहाँ पे प्रीफिक्स है, ये किसको देगा? R2 को. R2 किसको देगा? अपने नेबर को, R1 को. कोई फंडा ही नहीं है ना.
ओके हब पे ही कर दिया तो दैट मींस इट वुड वर्क.
सिर्फ और सिर्फ यही तो इंटरफेस पे ये कंडीशन है ना कि भाई 20 का रहे या 30 का. रिसीव भी इसमें करोगे और ट्रांसमिट भी इसी से करोगे. But for the control plane, for EIGRP neighborship, I have configured the scenario. Now hub and spoke. But guys, here I have, let's say, public IP address. Public IP on the WAN link. So these two public IP addresses are reachable with each other. They can communicate directly. But in my case, they will not communicate directly. They will communicate via hub router, via headquarter router. So what is the solution? So try to understand first why the communication between these two branches like side 1 and side 2 is happening via headquarter. Why? Just think about it. See, router 2 is advertising this 30 subnet with the help of update message. It will generate one update message. In that update message, it will include this network, right? And key values. Then source IP, destination IP, and it will forward to ISP. ISP will forward to router. How router will learn next hop IP address? Source IP address will become what? Next hop on router number 1, correct? You know this? Source IP address will become next hop for 20 subnet. And when router 1 is advertising it to R3, that time source IP is becoming what? The IP address of R1, its interface 1.1. So that will become next hop on R3. What if I will tell to router number 1 that bro, do not update next hop IP address. Do not update next hop IP address. Then router 3 is going to receive 20 subnet with R2 next hop 1.2. Am I right? Which is reachable. The reason why R2 and R3 are not exchanging the route is neighborship. There is no neighborship. For the control plane, we have this topology only. But for the data plane, we have what I want. If these two sides want to communicate with each other, they should communicate.
Sir, can you explain once again, sir, this thing?
What I am saying here that these sides are going to communicate via headquarter. Here I have only two. But just imagine if I have 1000 number of sites. So in that case, load on headquarter will be very high.
Correct.
Right? Because whenever two sites are going to communicate, hub router have to involve in that. Right? So in real time, in most of the case, you will see your control plane traffic, means routes, are exchanging through headquarter, through hub router, but the data plane traffic, means actual user data, is going directly. The reason why we cannot exchange routes, we cannot form neighborship over here is, here I don't have WAN circuit. I am not paying any money to ISP for connection. But ISP can forward traffic from here to. So there is one concept of next hop self. Next hop, which is by default enable. By default, whenever router will advertise prefixes, it will update next hop IP address. For example, I have three router R1, R2, and R3. Here I have one subnet 10.1.1.0. Here IP address is 12.1. Here IP address is 12.2. Here IP address is 23.2 and 23. R1 is going to advertise 10 subnet to router number 2 10.1.1.0. Next hop source IP address will be 12.1.1.1, which will become next hop on router number 2. Router 2 is going to install this prefix 10.1.1.0/24 and cable via 12.1.1.2. Now it is responsibility of R2 to advertise this network to R3. So router 2 is also going to send update message where source IP address will be what? 23.1.1. Right? So R3 will install this network in their table 10.1.1.0 and reachable via 23.1.1.2. This default behavior that every time router will update the next hop IP address. But if you want, you can disable it. I will tell to router 2 that bro, do not update next hop IP address. Then router will advertise as it is update message to router number 3, which it has received from router number 1 with same source 12.1. There is one command here, you can enable config space F0/0 IP next hop self for EIGRPS 10. This command is by default enable. Simply I can say no to again EIGRP enable this, and this time you can check the routing table. So IP route. Now you can see 30 subnet is reachable via 1.3. IP address of R3. So now ISP is not going to forward traffic to R1, it will forward to R3 directly, right? So these two sites are going to get now directly, but they will exchange route always through hub router, headquarter router. Is it clear to all?
Sir, just a small request. Can you do the packet flow just for once to clear all
Yeah,
this
sure,
up?
sure. See, first of all, I am going to enable speech horizon again by default. Again, you can see next hop is now. Here is the LAN user who is trying to ping 30.1, let's say. Source IP will be 20.1.1. Destination IP will be 30.1.1. Right? User will forward traffic to router number 2. Router 2 is going to compare destination IP with routing table. So IP route 20.1.1. So you can see to send traffic to 20.1, you have to forward it from which interface? Sorry, not 20, 30.
30 dot.
Right? Send traffic to 30.1.1. We have route available on fast Ethernet 0/0 via 1.1 hub router, right? So router 1 is going to check MAC address of IP address. So IP our MAC address is there. This will be the destination MAC, and then it will forward traffic to router 1. When router 1 will receive, again router 1 will compare destination with the routing table. So IP route 30.1.1. Get to know that exit interface is 0/0 and
सर स्प्लिट रीजन अभी बंद नहीं किया
केबल
हमने।
वाया नहीं, स्प्लिट होराइजन बंद है।
नहीं सर 1.3
स्प्लिट
दिखा रहा है
होराइजन
ना।
वो नेक्स्ट हॉप सेल्फ अभी नहीं किया है।
ओके
नेक्स्ट हॉप सेल्फ क्या है, अभी इनेबल है, तो
ओके
राउटर अपडेट कर रहा है अपना आईपी। तो यहाँ पे राउटर 1 चेक किया राउटिंग टेबल, नेक्स्ट हॉप इसको मिल गया 1.3 एक्टिव फॉरवर्ड ट्रैफिक टू राउटर, सेम पे राउटर 3। So this is when a split horizon, when next hop rule is enabled on the headquarter router. Now, what if split horizon only rule?
सर नो कर दिया तो हमने फिर डिसेबल कर दिया ना, यस करिए उसको, मतलब
Guys, if anyone have question, then please ask. I'm going in very detail. Even you will not find these concept in detail in your book as well, right? So if anyone have any question, you can ask. Now see, I have disabled the next hop self, right? So router 1 is hub router is not going to modify now next hop IP address. So that's why I to so IP route AGR. Now next hop is as it is. Next hop is R3 IP address. So this time when user will forward traffic to router number 2, again router 2 will compare it with routing table, and this time in the routing table this 30 subnet is reachable via this IP address, which is the R3 IP address. So router will check the MAC address and then it will forward to R3.
Sir, I have a question here. Sir, just I want to know this R2 router now it's sending a traffic directly to R3, not via R1. I got it. But my question is, in case if site 1 and site 2, this F0/0, this interface, it has both WAN IP address means, then how the site 1, it will know the WAN IP address of this site 2? How it will communicate with site 1 and site 2 each other?
R1 is advertising, na sir. When router 2 will generate update message, what will happen in the update message? Update message, it will include this network information 20.1.1.0. After that, source IP address will be 192.168.1.2 and destination IP will be what? What will be destination? Multicast or unicast?
Unicast.
Unicast, right? There is only one neighbor on router 2, 192.168.1.1. Then it will forward to router number 1. ISP will forward to router 1.
Yeah,
Correct?
understood.
Now,
Understood.
if next hop self is enabled, then router is not going to send this update message to router 3 directly. First, router will update next hop IP address. Here, 192.168.1.2 to 1. But if you have disabled the next hop self, then same, right? And it will advertise it R3. So this is how R3 will get to know about the WAN IP address of R2. R3 get the WAN IP of R2. Coming in the update message as a source IP. Source IP will be always next hop IP address. Clear? Another issue. another issue. Till now we have fixed two issue: speech horizon and next of self. Another issue. What will happen when 20 submit will R2 generate query message? Tell me yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Will generate query message, will forward query to R1, and R1 will not generate reply until unless R1 will not resolve query from their neighbor. So router 1 is going to forward that query to router number 3. Then router 3 will generate negative reply. After that, router 1 will give reply to router number.
Active statement डाल देगा.
अब यहाँ पे बहुत सारे साइड है. If I have lots of sites, issue, right? R2 have only advertised 20 submit to R1. How R1 can resolve the query? Not possible. And even R1 have advertised that to router number 3 through site 2. Now, how R1 can ask even for the alternative path or to the site 2? It should not generate query message. Spoke routers should not generate query message this kind of scenarios. Spoke routers generate query message in kind of scenario. And spoke before talking about this and this WAN topology types. So this can be hub and spoke or it can be full mesh. Full mesh means all the sites are connected with each other. Hub and spoke means all the spoke site means branch offices are connected with hub router. That particular thing is called hub and spoke topology. And if all the sites are directly connected with each other, that particular thing is called full mesh topology. Right? So I'm not talking about the physical topology. Right? This is overlay technology. There are two types of underlay and overlay. Right? So underlay, you can see all the sites are directly connected with each other. But how you are going to form overlay here? Right? Here you are going to form tunnel like this. Or you are going to form tunnel like this. That depends. That will define the topology type of topology it is. Sometimes you will see topology is configured as hub and spoke, and it depends on configuration only. It is hub and spoke or it is full mesh. That depends on configuration. If you are going to form EIGRP neighborship between all the routers, that is called full mesh topology. If I am going to form EIGRP neighborship between spoke and hub only, that is called hub and spoke.
तो सर जब
So can I
हमने next
understand?
of self, सर when we enable the next of self, तो उसमें full mesh बन गया, right?
नहीं, ये जीआरपी का नेबरशिप हमने थोड़ी ना फॉर्म किया.
नहीं फॉर्म नहीं किया बट अल्टीमेटली द नेक्स्ट हॉप तो फिर वो आरथी ही दिखा रहा
तो
है ना.
कंट्रोल प्लेन तो अभी भी R1 के वाया ही जा रहा है ना. अगर मैं EAGRP टोपोलॉजी की बात करूं तो EAGRP का टोपोलॉजी कैसा है? R1 है, R2 है, R3 है. ये मेरा है EAGRP का टोपोलॉजी. This is what? This is hub and spoke topology. Hub, spoke one.
Sir, so can I understand this is one of the benefit that we are using this hub and spoke technology? In case if we use full mesh EHRP neighborship means if one network is down, so it will generate a lot of
See,
query. It
there are
have to wait more
various
time.
factors. Like I should configure hub and spoke, I should use full mesh or hub and spoke. It depends on many factors, various factors, depending company to company. Some company are using like uh, the popular one is definitely hub and spoke. In most of the cases, we are using hub and spoke because just remember, just think, if I have thousand number of sites, then how many EHRP neighborship are there on one router? Thousand. There is huge difference in chip utilization. This R2 means side one router is going to form EHRP neighborship with thousand number of branches. Here in hub and spoke topology, how many neighborship are there? Only one. All sites are able to communicate. But issue is there is no redundancy. What if half side bill goes down? Second, cost. I am only paying for 2 WAN connection. But if I want to configure full mesh topology, then I have to pay for 3 WAN connection. If I have 1000 number of sites, I have to pay lots of money for WAN connection. Right? So topology, which type of topology you are going to configure? That depends on what? Your priority. What is your priority? Is redundancy your priority? Is availability your priority? Is cost your priority? If cost is your priority, then your topology type should be hub and spoke only. If availability, redundancy is your priority, then topology type should be full. Because full mesh is more faster as compared to hub and spoke. Right? So you can think about these all terms. Both hub and spoke and the full mesh topology are used, but each has its own advantage, disadvantage. The choice between them depends on many factors such as network size, performance requirement, cost, and redundancy. The hub and spoke topology. In hub and spoke topology, you will have one centralized control, one central hub router connected to multiple spoke routers. Like in my topology, R2 and R3 is hub route, sorry, spoke routers, and R1 is simple for management, simplified management. Even a beginner network engineer can manage it. But if there are thousand number of connection, right, it will be complicated for beginner network to manage the, right, it is complex. Configure, manage, and troubleshoot. Hub and spoke is easy to configure and trouble, and cost effective as well. So here are some advantages, here are some disadvantages, point of failure. What I told you. Hub become a critical point of failure. The hub router goes down, all communication between spokes and load on hub. These are the disadvantages. These are the, both has their own advantage. Here is the use case, like small to medium size company we are using hub and spoke. Often used in the scenario where cost and simplicity are more important than redundancy and performance. In hub and spoke topology, adding new site is also easy. Adding new site is also easy as compared to. Then here is the full mesh. It's direct connectivity between all the routers. Every router has a direct connection with every other router. So you can high redundancy. Here we have high redundancy, multiple path exist between 2 points, providing high availability, advantage redundancy, performance, right? And no point of it. Disadvantage cost, costly and complex. One is popular hub. What is a stub router? A stub router in EIGRP is a router that is connected to prevent it from forwarding traffic between other router. This typically used in branch offices or remote site where router does not need to act as a transit point. Now there are two terms. One is stub and one is transit. Stub and one is. Anyone have idea about it? What is the meaning of transit point?
Sir,
Let's
in
take
hub
an
and spoke,
example of this
R1
class.
was transit router.
Yeah, R1 is transit router. And R2 and R3 are sub
Remote
router.
sites. Yeah.
A router that can forward traffic between other router is called transit router. A router that forward traffic between other routers. For an example, I have three routers R1, R2, and R. Here is one user, and here is one user. Want to communicate. How they will communicate? They will communicate via
R2.
R2. Correct? Or if R1 want to send NAP fix to R3, they have to send via R2. R2 is the transit point between R1 and R. Router is called transit. And all the edge routers are called stub router. Edge router. R1 and R3 is my stub router here.
Sir, if R1 and R3 are stuck, then how are they going to forward the traffic to R2?
R2.
R2 is transit. R2 is transit point. So R1 and R3, if they are stuck, so this means that they cannot forward traffic to
Why they
other
cannot
routers.
forward? They are edge router. They will not forward the query message. I am edge router. Stub router is not going to forward query message. To forward traffic, router will check routing table only.
तो फिर उसका आंसर क्या है जब वो 20 डॉट वाला R2 का नेटवर्क डाउन होता है तो ऐसा ये क्वेरी मैसेज
स्टब राउटर कॉन्फ़िगर करेंगे ना हम लोग. जितने भी हमारे स्पोक राउटर्स होते हैं ना, वो हमेशा सब कॉन्फ़िगर. Why to use a stub router? Reduce routing overhead. A stub router do not participate in the fully EIGRP topology exchange, which reduce the amount of routing information they need to process and store. Enhance network stability, optimize bandwidth. And these are the configuration. When you configure router as a stub, you can specify what types of route it will advertise to its neighbor. We can say you should only advertise connected network or a static route or summary route or redistributed route or receive. So if I am saying here that bro R2, you are only and only advertising connected network, dear neighbor. So now router 1, no. Router 2 is only advertising connected network. So whenever router 1 will receive any query message from any other router, it will not advertise that to router 2. It will not forward that to router number 2. Right? So actually what we are trying to do here, we are not involving this router in fully EIGRP. Okay, so this is the example, same topology. Here you can read about transit router. Transit router on transit.
सर ड्राइव पे अपलोड कर दीजिएगा.
benefit of reduce query traffic, query message. When R2 and R3 are configured as stub router, they will not receive query message for networks they do not know about. You see, query traffic on the WAN beneficial over long distance, like those between one side is in New York, one side is in India, one side is in Australia. Think about bandwidth of WAN link, how important it is sides. So forwarding lots of query messages can reduce the quality of sometime interviewer can ask you like where I should configure a stub router, right? They can draw this type of topology. On the all spoke router. Here is the capturing. And I am going to don 20 subnet. Bar 2 and back 1. Shut down. Interface back 1. Shut down. How many query messages? R2 is sending query to R1. Acknowledgement. R1 have sent it the acknowledgement. Then hello message. R1 is sending query to whom? R2 and R3. Again acknowledgement from both neighbor. Who is replying? Now R2 is replying to R1. Here is the reply. Reply should be first.
Sir, I have a question. Why it is again R1 is sending query message to R2? Because pehla query to it has come from R2 only, right?
ये वाला
Why it is? हाँ, क्योंकि मैंने ही आपको मैसेज भेजा है कि मैं डाउन हूँ या आई एम
हाँ
नॉट
बिल्कुल
वेल, राइट? तो आप भी मुझे दोबारा भेज रहे हैं, तो इट इज ऑफ नो
एक
यूज।
गलत और पहले रिप्लाई भी कौन सा होगा? ये वाला रिप्लाई होगा पहले R3
मीन जो क्वेरी मैसेज R3 को गया, देन
this
R3
one.
विल सेंड इट टू R1, राइट?
Correct. R3 will send query reply to R1,
R1
then R1 will send reply to R.
2.
The default behavior. For configuring router. Now again that update message done and router AGRP is number 10.
क्वेश्चन मार्क। सर जस्ट अ मिनट, गूगल बाबा से ले आते हैं।
Command AGRP. After that, here I can say connect. To advertise connected. Connect. Same command I will run on other router also. Number 3. Config T router EHRPS 10 and now see the capturing. Again I am going to down same network.
सर ये कनेक्टेड कीवर्ड क्यों लगाया हमने?
सिर्फ और सिर्फ ये राउटर कनेक्टेड प्रीफिक्स एडवर्टाइज कर रहा है। कोई नेबर से
Okay.
रिसीव किया हुआ प्रीफिक्स, मतलब मैं एज राउटर हूँ, स्टब राउटर हूँ,
Okay. Okay.
राइट. अगेन back 1 on router number 2, face back 1. Okay. Query: is R1 sending any query message to R3 now? Is R1 sending any query message to R3 now?
No, it is sending to
Reply message directly.
1.3. Hmm.
R1 is sending directly reply message to.
Sir, so R2 will generate a query message only if connected network goes down.
Correct.
सर अगर स्टैटिक होता तो कोई
कोई
नेटवर्क.
नहीं, कोई
Okay.
फिर क्वेरी जाएगा ही नहीं. So here what we reduce the number of query messages. For 1000 sites, if any prefixes will goes down on the spoke sites, then hub router will not process that query to other site. Hub router will generate query for, sorry, spoke router will generate query for hub, and hub will give reply. Earlier, directly hub was not generating the reply. Was first forwarding query to other side, and when it was receiving reply from other side, then it was.
To
So this way we
site
can
one.
improve the performance as well. Because on the WAN link, you have to take care about unnecessary traffic. So this problem is also resolved. Now my network is like EIGRP is. Now EIGRP is.
So, sir, we can say कि if an interviewer asks कि how we can avoid, previous answer was before this class was how we can avoid query message. So previous answer was कि feasible successor बना दो, right? But now
See, to
today
reduce the
after,
query message, we can configure feasible successor. First thing,
correct.
we can configure summarization. Summarization also, when you will learn summarization, you will see that, right?
Okay.
And in hub and spoke topology, we can configure all the spoke as stub router,
Stop.
means
Okay.
edge router.
Okay.
Here now you will find that so hub router. So IP GRP number. What it's saying? Per static neighbor, fine. Stop here. Means this router is advertising only connected route, right? So except the route which router 2 is advertising to R1, except that route, means except 20, router 1 will not send query message for any other network to router number 2. Getting my point? Router 1 know that whatever prefixes I am learning from router number 2, I will generate query for those prefixes only. Here guys,
मतलब hub also knows कि, but this was sir
hub only
before
knows
config.
na, only hub knows it.
नहीं जैसे sir we have configured stubbing at R2, right? So hub को भी वो information चली गई कि you have
हाँ,
to,
वो एक
कि
स्टब
by
फ्लैग
default
होता है ना,
सर
वो
ये
ऑन कर दे.
सर ये नहीं तो या by default ही वो था, it is
नहीं बाय डिफॉल्ट नहीं होता है.
configured.
देखो अभी मैं यहाँ से क्या,
वो कमांड हटा दीजिए. हाँ जी, that was my question.
router, EIGRP is number 10, no EIGRP is sub.
सर एंटर मार दीजिए यहीं पे।
है कोई ऐसा
अच्छा ये तो 1.3 का है सर, 2 का था।
ये
ओके,
वाला इंफॉर्मेशन चला गया ना इस नेबर के साथ।
करेक्ट, गॉट इट। मतलब EIGRP मैसेज के साथ इट विल बी सेंडिंग दिस
Yes,
information as well that I'm
stub
stub
flag.
router.
Correct. I'm a stub and I am advertising only connected network. So do not send me query message for any other prefix except 20, 30, 40, 50, 10, any other prefix. Do not send query message to
Sir, is it possible to configure both connected routes and for the static routes to generate query message?
GRP.
So इसमें क्या क्या ऑप्शन आ रहे हैं? Static redistributed.
Connected dot receive dot only redistributed static. You can configure these. Connected, then static, then summary, distributed.
Yes, perfect.
The next thing in EIGRP is offset list, or I can start with summarization. So let's come on path manipulation. Let's start offset list. क्लास में हो गया।
सर इससे पहले जो नेटवर्क डायग्राम आपने बनाया था उसमें जो
ये वाला है, ये जो लास्ट क्लास में बनाया था ना।
हाँ सर।
यार Done? Done? Okay. Dot 3. IP is 20. Dot.
बाकियों पे आपने EIGRP इनेबल कर दिया सर?
Sorry. That means there is some issue between order 2 and order 4. So R2 IP RP neighbor. There is only one neighbor. So IP RP AGRP is equal on both inter. So IP is brief. The address over here is incorrect. Yeah. Load balancing हो रहा है. Equal cost load balancing. What is happening? Equal cost load balancing on R1 also. So IP dot EAGRP. It is performing equal cost load balancing for 20 subnet. From both sides, equal metric, equal FD, equal RD, equal AD value, same prefix length. So router have installed both in their routing. Yes? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now let me do one thing on R3 rate with bandwidth just to make some difference between these paths. So interface F1/0 and bandwidth is one as well as now R1. Now there is only one path via router number, correct? And so IP AGRP topology. In topology table, how many paths are there for 20 subnet guys?
One path only.
One path. That means lower path is even not feasible successor. Lower path via router number 3 is not feasible successor. RT is greater than RT of feasible success is greater than FD of success. Feasibility condition is not matching. So I am not going here. This F 10 0 here. Now, so RP. Now you can see OG table. FD is same. FD same. How
No.
many successor are there? Now here, let's say this is default bandwidth and delay on all the routers. This time, if I want to perform load balancing, what option I? One option is
Variance.
variance, that is equal cost load. Second thing is offset. Offset list. To offset list, see the matrix. Matrix from upper path is this one, FD, and FD from lower path is this. You can find the difference in FD, and then you can add some matrix over here on the top path
To make it
equal,
best.
to
Okay.
make it equal, same matrix. Once matrix will become equal, router will start performing what? Equal cost load. Offset list is used to perform equal cost load. Offset is used to perform equal cost.
Sir, is it allowed to do like this in enterprise network?
Yes, we are using. Here ERP we have so many options for the path manipulation. More than OSPM, but not more than BGP. But to run BGP, hardware, IV protocol, right? So choosing EIGRP for our enterprises can be the great choice option. Sometimes we are using EIGRP also, but most of the time we are using OSP. And between the service provider or inside the service provider, between two company, we will be using.
BGP.
So you will learn those things later, like what is the issue EIGRP. Now we are talking about benefit only. Later we'll talk about. Right. So first is it is used to perform equal cost load balancing. Second thing we can say it is used to perform what? Path manipulation. Path manipulation. How path manipulation? Path manipulation is also how it is possible. It is possible. See on router number 1. What if I will add some more matrix than difference? The lower path will become best path, right?
So lowest metric is followed, right?
Right.
Preferred.
2 6 3 6 8 0. The matrix from lower path and matrix from upper path. I am subtracting 3 3 2 8.
33280.
So if I will add this number with this matrix, upper matrix, then matrix will become what? Equal, router will start performing equal cost load balance. But if I will add one more to this value with this matrix, then what will happen? Lower path will become best path. So with the help of offset list, we can not only perform equal cost load balancing, but we can also perform path manipulation. Load balancing and path manipulation. If someone will ask you what is offset list, you can say offset list is a tool to add some matrix with existing matrix. Right? Now, how? Question is how. So first of all, you have to define for which prefixes you want to, add
Manipulate.
offset list. for which you want to add offset list. So to make interesting traffic, what I can do, I can use access control list, and after that we can configure it. So let me show you.
Sir, sir, एक question है before that. Sir, RIP में we have used path manipulation के लिए या path preference के लिए हमने एक distance command use करी थी, right? इस केस में भी is there any
डिस्टेंस तो
possibility
सारे
AGR
प्रोटोकॉल में है, यहाँ भी कर सकते हैं।
Okay.
बट मैंने आपको क्या बताया था वहां पे कि डिस्टेंस हम कब यूज करते हैं और मल्टीपल राउटिंग प्रोटोकॉल
जब different
जनरली।
routing
हाँ
protocol
जब
हो, correct.
यहाँ पे अभी for now I want to add some metric for 27 because in the topology table we are able to find two paths, but in the routing table, so IP route AGRP, there is only so let me configure one ACL access list. Let's say number 10, I am saying permit 20.1.1.0 wildcard 0 dot access list. Now I can get offset router AGRPS number 10 and offset the command. The number you can define from this range, standard ACL or extended ACL, all your access control. Or 10. In which direction you want to?
In direction.
In direction. When you will receive route, then you will add metric. Now what metric you want to?
Correct.
230
Correct.
Now on which
F1/0.
so,
Sir, why 0/0?
because I am saying to router number 1 that bro, whenever you will route on F0/0, you will add this metric.
Sir, but अभी तो preferred वही है ना, अच्छा load balancing के लिए you are saying.
Yes, load balance.
Okay, okay.
अच्छा तो हमें इस पे करना था।
So मेरा क्वेश्चन वही था कि why this? अभी हमारा preferred है सर R2 के
यहाँ
through,
पे प्रीफर
right?
क्या है, कौन है ये वाला
तो
पार्ट,
lower the metric, lower the
lower the
metric.
metric, right? So if I will add some metric over here, what will happen? Metric will become equal. Then router will
Equal.
start performing load balancing.
So we are correct, sir.
We are correct. Now you can check the routing table. हो रहा है लोड बैलेंस, लोड बैलेंसिंग हो रहा है।
So now we have increased the metric value for only the 20 network.
Yes, only for 20. So IP
So through offset list, we can only add, we cannot subtract.
no, we can only add. Yes, we can only add the metric. We cannot subtract. So IP protocol here you can verify it. Offset list is applied or not. What it's saying, incoming route in fast Ethernet 0/0 will have
This
23400 added to metric if prefix will match in access list number 10. The prefix match in list number 10. And what if I will add 4 metric? Here if I am saying 1.
सर वो फिर R2 वाला पाथ प्रेफर करने लग जाएगा.
फिर वो क्या होगा, वो R2 वाला पाथ. Then start using lower path. So IP route EH. That is called what?
सर चेंज नहीं करी हमने वैल्यू
करेगा
अभी.
करेगा
वो नहीं हमने ही नहीं करी सर, वो वैल्यू सेम डाल दिया.
सेम नहीं डाल.
होगी. ओके.
1 डाल दें.
2 3 okay.
So now best path is changed. So best is from R3. So this way we can manipulate the path also. We can achieve load balancing also. And how to verify? By running command show IP protocol. So IP protocol, here you can find how much metric you have added, which access list you have used. Access is number 10. Now I can use check access list, like for which prefixes I have added the for 20. Next topic is summarization.
शुरू कल करें.
कल का टाइम हो गया क्या?
हाँ
हाँ
सर,
सर.
10 बजे.
Okay, so we'll start.
So tomorrow class timing?
Yeah, so guys, tell me tomorrow when everyone can connect. Connect for 3 hours tomorrow. Can we connect from 12 to 3? 12, 3.
सिर्फ 3 घंटा ज़रूरी है.
थोड़ा सा
Not possible because of office timing. Not possible.
not possible. When it is possible? At this time? 8
सर
p.m.
दो
to 10.
दो घंटे. सर दो घंटे.
Same time, sir. 8 to
Same
10.
time.
सेम टाइम पे
सर
ही
मे
कल
बी.
कनेक्ट करें.
सर मे बी
We can
7
only
o'clock
join in evening all.
सर 7 o'clock कर लें थोड़ा सा अर्ली. 7 to 9 में.
या
सर 7 to 9 में
7
मेरे ऑफिस की लिविंग टाइम होती है सर. ट्रैफिक में रहूंगा उस वक्त.
ओके ठीक है 8 बजे ही.
सर 8 बजे नहीं हो पाएगा.
8 to 10 or 8 to 10?
8 बजे भी नहीं हो पाएगा.
नो सर, मीटिंग रख लो आप.
8
क्योंकि
बजे
सर सैटरडे संडे मेरी ऑफिस रहती है तो शाम को 6 बजे निकलता हूँ. 2 घंटे में ट्रैफिक में लगती है. यस सर.
सर मॉर्निंग में 11 to 1 कर लें फिर.
हाँ 11 to 1.
मॉर्निंग ओके फॉर एवरीवन.
यस सर.
Fine for me.
Yes, sir. Morning. Okay.
Morning hours is
Yes,
okay
Kiran.
for me.
Yeah, possible, sir.
Yes, Kiran, for you.
Yes, sir. No problem.
So morning,
11 to 1 sir.
what is the time?
Yes, for me it's okay. Morning it's
11
okay.
to 1 sir.
Sir
11 to
11 to
1.
1 is perfect time, sir.
Okay.
No. I have to go to the office, so I can't join
Same
in
thing.
from
Same
11
thing.
to 1.
11 to 1 is
Morning
our
office
time.
time.
Time is fine. Okay, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m.
See, 8 to 10 is okay for me, and most of the people means are ready.
I'm agreed.
at
I'm
11.
agreed. I'm agreed with Varun.
Okay, let's connect at time 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. But this weekend we have class, so make sure you all will join.
Sure.
सर संडे को भी क्लास रहेगी क्या?
हाँ संडे को भी क्लास रहेगी.
Sir, Sunday not
फिर सर
possible for
लैब
me,
कब
sir.
करेंगे?
बस इसी वीक में रहेगा ना, सब वीक में नहीं रहेगा ना.
सर अगले वीक फिर सैटरडे नहीं तो संडे को ले लीजिए. एक दिन तो लैब के लिए दीजिए. इतना बढ़ाएंगे लगातार, फिर सर लैब नहीं
सर
करेंगे तो कोई फायदा
सर
नहीं है.
सेल्फ स्टडी नहीं हो पाएगा.
आज जो मैंने
प्रॉब्लम इज
करवाया
दैट.
ना, whatever things today I have covered, just perform the lab tomorrow and connect on Sunday. Okay, we'll connect on
Sir,
Sunday.
चलो.
Sunday not possible, sir. Duty times and I have other classes as well.
At
If
same
we
time
can
8 p.m.
exempt
to
Sunday, we can.
8 to 10. 8 to 10 Sunday.
सर
No, Sunday
संडे
evening I have class, sir.
okay, tomorrow Saturday.
Tomorrow I am available.
But
Just
tomorrow
I'm
is okay.
asking.
Sunday not.
Okay, let's connect tomorrow then.
Next week again on Saturday or Sunday we can extend. I mean at least one day we need for
मतलब
practice.
सर सेल्फ स्टडी थ्योरी भी साथ साथ फिर लैब भी करनी है तो
बहुत
2
जरूरी
दिन
है,
और
लैब तो
चाहिए
करना
सेल्फ।
ही, और थोड़ा बहुत बुक दैट इज कंपलसरी।
एक दिन में नहीं हो पाएगा सर। संडे नहीं तो सैटरडे अगले हफ्ते फिर से एक्सटेंड कर लेंगे।
श्योर श्योर। Joining live classes is not sufficient, right? You have to perform lab, you have to check books, then you have to read article, then only you can understand the technology.
Sir, what about lecture number 7? You told that there is some issue in the recording.
So
Can we
screen
get
is
that?
not showing, only voice is there. If you want that, I can upload it.
Sir, please upload. You went into great detail on that day. So if we can hear also, it will
But
be
we
fine.
don't have screen na, so what will you understand?
Yeah, mental satisfaction, Rahul.
No.
So that is video is already
Yeah.
available.
That is already there. That satisfaction would satisfy you. No issue.
Sir, tomorrow at what time you have class? Still it not confirmed.
Tomorrow same time 8 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Sunday also have to set timetable.
Sunday we don't have class.
Okay, thank you.
Only tomorrow and next week.
When so we are connecting tomorrow at the same time, 8
Yes.
p.m.
Yes. That's him.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Thank you.